whispering in the trees. It's two sailors and they're only.
You're on the Region Underground.
Mr. Preacher, this is Dan Repay.
Hi, Dan. How are you, sir?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you? I just caught the tail end of your show that I never listened to.
Are you hunkered down?
No, I'm just hoping that it doesn't get above freezing anytime soon when we have this all melt.
I was actually afraid to say that, but I had that concern even before it started snowing today. If you're looking at a couple of feet of snow, eventually we're going to have the meltdown, and we're going to end up right back counting on and hoping and crossing our fingers and hoping that the Little Calumet River does not go over its banks. Now, you are the director of the Little Cal River Commission project, what have you.
Correct.
I just happened to mention it was completely off the cuff and unrehearsed. Bill Baker called with some traffic. He's on the commission, as you know, and it just brought that article that I read in the paper back into my mind. I didn't like what McDermott had to say, where it was basically, you guys are arrogant, you guys are cocky, you are the ones that need to come and talk to the Hammond City Council. We haven't heard anything before you try and pass this $25 fee. So if there was anything that I missed, can you tell me what you guys proposed and how it would work in theory?
Well, I didn't catch all that, and I don't know what everything that you said. I just caught a couple callers talking about the maintenance issue and how we could just get prisoners, and if that was the only issue that we had was cleaning out debris, that would be a wonderful idea. The problem is that this river is different than, say, Hart's Ditch. Is we have over or nearly 24 pumps, a lot of culverts, a lot of sluice gates that have anything that has pipes and gates. We need to exercise them and make sure that they are in functioning order. And the unfortunate aspect of this is, for 27 years, no one's really been, well, I mean, they didn't have the money, one, and number two, they really haven't been paying attention to the maintenance side of it. So if you can imagine going into a building, a house, and you go in there and you buy it, and you have to gut some things, and you've got to fix some things. And just to give you one example, we have a claim, we'll be spending nearly $20,000 on fixing a pump at Burr Street in Gary at this next meeting.
Right.
That's just one pump.
Now, what's the price tag on that?
One pump to fix it, to pull it, and to get it set again is nearly $20,000.
Okay, let me point out something else, a common theme, at least a couple of callers had.
Sure.
Saying that, or believing that, the municipalities can handle this. We don't want another tax. It's not a fee, a tax, whatever you want to call it. I understand that complaint. That's valid, but it's real and it's necessary, in my opinion. But the feeling was, hey, the municipalities that border the Little Calumet River, they can handle this. Hammond, Gary, who else? Highland, I suppose, Munster. Those municipalities could foot this bill. Why isn't that true? If it isn't,
some municipalities are physically able to do this. You listed some of them. Some are not capable, and unfortunately, this is a system, and the system is in the entire watershed. But if you have one of those groups that don't participate fully, that don't do their part, then the entire system will fail. And it won't be any fault of one municipality, but everyone will suffer the consequences of one person basically dropping the ball. And that's why it goes to the whole issue of the watershed, which is, a lot of people don't realize that water from some parts of Crown Point, Winfield, and St. John, Dyer, even parts in Illinois and Creek, come all the way down to Little Cal. Either they come through Deep River or they come through Hart's Ditch for the most part. Katy Marsh has some as well. You took the canoe trip. You do see some of the debris.
Right.
The problem is a lot of the mechanical is nearly 25 and 30 years old from the beginning of the project, and so initially it will cost more money. And I know there's a lot of people that won't believe this, but as we get into the second year, you will see a decrease in that fee, which is a part of the legislation. And two, there's a benefit for the South County or the South watershed, as I relate to it. Folks, is Dyer still floods, Hobart is flooding, Lake Station flooded, Sheriffville and Briar Ridge flooded. So it is not. I know people sometimes try to gravitate towards just the Little Calumet River, but there are issues throughout the watershed. And what the first thing that we propose to do, if this is successful, is to develop a plan overall throughout the entire watershed so that we know that we could develop maybe some low-lying areas that we could store water during a major rain event until the rest of the system will catch up and allow it to properly drain. I mean, it's a $250 million project, and for everyone, or not, and I'm not blaming anyone, I'm just saying for anyone to say you're just going to turn your back and walk away, it will cost you more money to fix it, 5 years when something again happens.
Well, I think some people are trying to get off on the cheap, but let's talk a little bit and make sure that I had at least the figure correctly. What you've proposed is $25 per residence?
For residential, $50, I believe, I don't have it in front of me, $50 for commercial, $100, I believe, for agriculture, and $200 for industrial. And the purpose, and I could have commercial in the agriculture flip, and I might have. But the purpose behind that is this. If you're a resident, you have grass and you have less dense space. You're going to absorb more water, so you should pay less. The big parking lots that Target, and I'm not going to blame them, or any other commercial development, it's concrete. It's a concrete garden. I mean, that's all they do is have concrete. You park and it drains down into the sewers.
Sure.
And so there's really no absorption going on there. It's just feed it fast as you can into the system, and that's what they do. And each municipality does a good job. I mean, Sheriffville doesn't have a stormwater management board, but they still do a good job, protecting their residents. The problem is they have to push the water someplace else, and they push the water to the next municipality, and it's just a cumulative effect on everybody else.
How much money, and that's annually, right? Is that correct?
Initially, correct. Yes.
Okay. If this was to go as planned and go through and be applied, how much money would be raised?
If I believe the last number that I saw, if at 100% collection, it would be about $4.5 million.
And how long do you figure that could operate the system? At least give you a cushion. How long would it last? Just
to give you a breakdown, the Army Corps has estimated doing the pump stations and replacing the pumps on an annual basis as to their life cycle, and cleaning the necessary issues like animals burrowing in the side of the levee and fixing the cracks in the concrete. They estimate it to be between $2.5 and $3 million annually. That's just basic necessity, operation and maintenance.
Just chasing them down, huh?
Yeah, that's everything. We also know there's approximately, we've had bids, we've had people look at it. We get annual inspection reports from the Army Corps that says, here are your deficiencies, fix them. So we've had construction companies go out and give us an estimate as to what this would cost to fix this. Those estimates come at our latest report was $3 million. So you're talking $6 right there, and then an additional $1 million would be needed for emergency response and fixes in other communities along the way.
So it obviously,
the first year we won't catch up the first year, but by the second year I feel comfortable with the fact that we should have all the deferred maintenance issues resolved. We'll have a better handle on, the first time around on maintenance of this thing is going to be a bear. That's just like the first time you cut your grass, for the whole year.
Right. It's been neglected so long. I completely understand that, and I'm with you guys on this. I don't any more than you want to pay or anybody else wants to pay, but I do understand that we're going to have to pay, and I don't think that the $25 is out is way out there somewhere that we won't be able to. At least it's not 50. Come on.